Welcome everybody to NAB Stadium in Auchenflower as the Brisbane Capitals host the University of Sunshine Coast RipCity in a great QBL matchup. We've got the women for you here first. I'm John Gorn. I'm joined tonight by Dan George. Dan, these teams met a couple weeks ago before the break last week. It was a very close game, a tight win for the Rip. Caps are definitely looking for some revenge. What do you expect to see out of these two groups tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be another close game again, and obviously the Capitals at home will be wanting to reverse the score from last time they played. And I think most clubs would say if we can, steal some wins on the road but protect home court, we're in good shape. So it's important for the Caps to bounce back strong in front of what looks like another good crowd here at Auchenflower.
It's going to be a huge matchup. Like we said, the key to me in this one, I think, is going to be who can control the ball a little bit better. There was a few turnovers in that last game. Obviously, you have to maintain possession to win the game, but you don't want to give your opposition too many easy buckets either.
Excuse me. No, there's no doubt about it. And I think if you can get offensive rebounds and force turnovers, those are two ways to gain extra possessions. And if both teams are pretty even like these two teams are, those extra possessions will make all the difference in the game. So we're interesting to see who can put the most pressure on tonight and force those errors from their opposition.
And a couple of players to look out for. Lee Scott for the University of Sunshine Coast Rip. She leads the league in scoring. She's been tremendous so far this season for Lee Scott and for the Rip. They come in at 2-3, both teams with a 2-3 record. The Caps just in front of the Rip in this one. Dan, I'm going to ask you, you have a prediction for this matchup?
It's a tough one to pick, definitely, and you want to lean towards the Caps at home. I would expect, Amy Lewis to come out and have a really great game tonight, but I'm going to lean towards the Rip in a very close affair.
I definitely agree with you. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't know, though. I think Caps are starting to finally come together. Pretty solid unit. They have their core, which has been together for a little while. This is a fairly new group of Rip players. They also, though, seem to be hitting their strides. I'm expecting another tight one. I'm going to have to go, I think, with the Caps. The home court advantage. I think also having the opportunity to play each other 2 times in a row, it might be a bit of an advantage for the Caps, especially at home.
Yeah, you're probably right. And I think anytime you can turn around and play the opposition again quickly certainly helps. And when teams go in and do their homework and watch a video, well, you don't really need to if you just played them a couple of weeks ago. So they should be familiar with what each of them are doing. But that's the challenge, too, for the coaches to add little wrinkles in, maybe a set play here and there that they didn't have a fortnight ago. So we'll see what adjustments the coaching staff have made from both sides as well.
Caps have Bethel, Neves, Woodford, Lewis, and Aldred. Rip come back with Abbott, Shaw, Langhorne, Smith, and Lee Scott. Tips up. It's won by the Caps. Immediately they go inside for Bethel. Out to Neves. Jump shot is good. That's a 3. Not a bad bucket to start the game.
It's a great start. Really confident looking shot too. Didn't hesitate at all.
Smith now for the Rip. Looking inside. Pass is tipped and stolen by Aldred. You can see the Rip really wanting to get the ball into Hannah Shaw. Bethel. Skip pass to Woodford with 6 on the shot clock. Woodford's elbow jumper is good. 2 possessions, 2 buckets for the Caps. Langhorne now on the wing. Out to Smith, opposite wing, 3 is short. Lewis comes down with it for the Caps.
This is a really strong start for the Caps, Johnny. Offensively, they've looked really confident, but defense, they are locked in.
Neves skips it over. Good drive by Woodford along the baseline. Nice dish for Bethel. She's fouled. That's going to be 2 shots for Akila Bethel. She'll go to the free throw line for 2, where she shoots 61.5% on the season. Really nice start from the Caps. Being aggressive, trying to push the ball, looking for that early quick bucket if it's there, and then bringing it back out if it's not. And I think defensively, Dan, they've done a pretty good job keeping the Rip perimeter oriented.
Yeah, they have, and that allows them to control the defensive rebound too. And like we spoke about in the pregame, if you can keep your position to one, maybe two possessions, or two shots rather, certainly puts you in a big stead. And Maddie Woodford, we talk about her each time we cover the Caps. I don't know if we can say she's underrated given that she's been starting for a couple of years now, but just does all the little things, and there she is on the floor playing hard defense for her team.
Smith shoots an air ball.
Well, it's a lot of jump shots for the Rip. I reckon we'll see a quick timeout here from Jay in a second, especially if the Rip can't score on this possession.
And Neves a little disappointed with that layup attempt. Pass inside stolen. Caps really locked in defensively to start this game. Aldred uses the pump fake, can't finish, but she's fouled. It's going to send Aldred to the free throw line for 2 shots. On the season, Dan, heading into tonight, she shoots 68.7%. Coach McCracken going to go to the bench. McDonald getting set to check in.
I mean, the concern here, I mean, it's the right move as a coach, but the league leading scorer, like you said, and they're going to rely on her heavily. You're down 0-9, and I mean, Leah Scott picks up her second personal, so she's going to have to sit for a while. 8 minutes left in the first, Johnny. This is a risky spot for the Rip offensively. Where are they going to get their points from? That's the question.
McDonald fires a 3 that's short. And like we said, Dan, it's perimeter oriented. I don't think the Caps are doing anything in particular to really shut down the interior pass. What do you see out there?
No, I think the Rip, you're right, are settling for the jump shot. And I mean, I think we'll see a timeout soon. You don't want to go down double figures here. 2.5 minutes without a bucket's a concern. And the Capitals looking like they are getting whatever they want. And there's the timeout that they needed.
Yeah, it's a good timeout on the floor, so we'll take one as well. 7:24 to go in the first quarter. Caps out to 11-0 lead here in your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium. Timeout taken by the Sunshine Coast Rip after the Caps opened the game on an 11-0 run. Dan, it was pretty impressive. Bit late on the timeout maybe, but Coach McCracken gave him as much rope as he could to get them to right the ship.
And I think it's a fine line between just trusting your players and letting the players figure it out. And there's a nice move out of the timeout. At least they're going to the bucket. They give them a chance to crush the glass and get on the board. First points of the game, but I think when your leading scorer's out for the rest of the quarter, at least maybe part of the second quarter, I think the timeout was needed just to give some structure to these other girls. And you can see the adjustment back in the zone now just to give the Capitals a different look.
And the zone gets the stop. See if the Rip can capitalize and get some more points on the board. McDonald fires a 3. That rolls in and out. Another offensive rebound, though. Carly Smith blocked from behind by Woodford. Excuse me, that was Lewis. There's 6 on the shot clock now for Rip. Shaw fading away. Going to get her for the travel. Really nice defense, though, from the Caps. Very aggressive, really double teaming anytime the ball goes in the paint. Bethel will fire the baseline jump shot. That's nothing but net. Lead back up to 11 for the Caps. Langhorn has Neves on a reverse layup. Is good.
I think the point Coach McCracken obviously made in that timeout must have been, let's go to the hoop, because you can see them really crash the glass, and a couple of good post feeds gets them back to 13-4, and this zone looks a lot more active. It's amazing how active you are defensively once you score a couple of buckets, Johnny.
Neves' three is too long. It winds up in the hands of Lewis. Her jump shot is nothing but net as well.
And it's just those second chance points that hurt you too. They played great D, and it was an awkward rebound, but the Caps can grab it. And Amy Lewis's money from mid-range.
Yeah, she's been hitting that mid-range jump shot for a long time, hasn't she?
Sure has.
Langhorn trying to back it out. Now kicks it over. McDonald has it. Inside for Abbott. Turnaround jump shot is good. So the focus on that paint touch, Dan, has come up trumps for the Rip.
Sure has.
Just need to string together a few stops. They're down 9. Just about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Reverse layup by Bethel is good, plus the foul.
We've got a tech coming up here too. Just frustration, I think. But that ball bounced almost to the ceiling.
I like what the referees did there, though. They did hand the tech out. I thought they were going to wave it off.
Yeah, I think when you're 17-6 down, the tech's the right call, no doubt. But as a player, of course, you want a warning, because that's 2 fouls now for sure too, and she'll have to sit right next to Leah Scott. So the Capitals absolutely in control here.
Couldn't ask for a better start if you're a Brisbane Capitals fan.
Oh, there's no doubt. The offense is looking really, really good. Defense is obviously locked in. They're doing a great job on that end of the floor. And you've got 2 of the key players, if not the 2 key players, for the Rip sitting on the bench for the next 5 minutes, maybe more.
So Lewis shoots the technical foul and hits. Bethel hit the other one, so it's a 13-point lead now with about 5 to go in the first quarter. Sticking with the zone, skip pass to Lewis, baseline jump shot, rolls in and out.
Well, I think with the foul trouble to these other girls, they're going to have to stay in zone for a while. And those are the sort of cheap turnovers that we spoke about, just giving up possession. You play great defense, get the stop, but that's okay. They'll bounce back. It's much better signs for the Rip at least.
Yeah, a few turnovers creeping in as well here for the Sunshine Coast Rip. Pass is tipped off the hands of Aldred. That's out of bounds. So Caps force the turnover and then get a turnover themselves. Michaela King checking in for the Capitals. Aldred going to take a breather. And Cardin David going to check in for Rip. McDonald gets a breather. Behind the back dribble, Cardin David loses it.
She actually made a great move. She could just stick that dribble. Shook her defender, but shook herself as well, unfortunately. Good pass.
It's a good look inside. Bethel wide open. Layup is good. That's too easy, though. Caps will take that one and take it all day. 21-6.
It is too easy.
That's just lack of communication on the defensive end, and then Lewis gets a steal, goes right at Smith, who fouls her.
Good sportsmanship from Maddie Woodford, just classy. I'm not sure that was an unsportsmanlike foul, but obviously it's been called. I know Leah Scott's got 2 fouls, but I'd almost put her back in, Johnny. I don't know what you think. 4 minutes left in the quarter, but this could easily be, 30-6, and here she comes. I think that's the right move. And I think you just have to trust her to play with that foul trouble. They're in the zones, that protects her a little bit, but they need buckets, and that's the girl to give it to them.
She's just got to have that responsibility of knowing she's got 2. She cannot afford to pick up her 3rd. So Scott will come in. Smith will take a breather. So it's 2 shots for the shooting foul. And I think the discussion is if there's another 2, but it's just going to be possession for the Caps at half court. Where's Regan when we need him?
Where is Regan? I know.
Regan's on the call. The Southwest Metro Pirates taking on the Townsville Flames. That's another great game.
That would be a great game. This one will be good, but that's a great game too.
And men's game should be pretty good as well. 10 on the shot clock.
Much better defense for the Rip too, Johnny. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, you're all right, Dan. That's what you're here for. We need your opinion as Bethel gets the steal plus the foul. It's a bit sloppy for the Rip, and the Caps making them pay on almost every turnover. It's been a tremendous performance to start this game for Brisbane.
Well, we spoke about how even these teams were in the match a couple of weeks ago. We expected much of the same, but you have to give the Caps credit. I mean, the Rip, I'm not sure they're doing a lot wrong. It's just the Caps have come out absolutely focused and locked in here on their home floor, and they're putting on a performance tonight.
Bethel hits the free throw. So the lead up to 20 now. I like the sound effects. You like the ring of the bell? I know you're looking forward to your guy, the Hornet, fighting next weekend.
Next June, next Sunday. Yeah, I am pumped for that fight. I hope he does well.
I hope so too. Here's Scott dumping it off. Baseline jump shot from Abbott. Rolls off the front of the rim.
That's a better action though. Good shot. Scott creates. Get a good look. You live with those misses if you're the Rip. What you can't live with is giving up layups at the other end.
That's the second missed layup, though, by the Caps. That might come back to haunt you later on in the game. 2 wide open layups missed. And then there's another turnover. Carden David looking for Ditchburn inside. Timeout on the floor taken. Looks like it's by the Rip, so we'll take one as well. 2:50 to go in the first quarter. Caps up 20 over the Rip in your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower. It's a 26-6 Caps lead over the Rip, Dan, and they're doing it defensively, really doing a nice job keeping the Rip to the perimeter and contesting those open looks. And I think one thing that I also need to credit the Caps on, doing a pretty good job on the glass as well.
They're doing a great job, and that is obviously the last part of a defensive possession. You play great defense and give up an offensive rebound. Doesn't count for much, but they've controlled the backboard so far.
There's a good steal from Smith. Shaw at the free throw line. Jumper is off. Tipped out of bounds off the hands of the Rip. Not a bad look, though. Shaw looking to try and get herself going.
Yeah, you live with that shot. So that's a good shot, but I also think the Rip have to say, well, if Leah Scott's going to play with 2 foul shots, she's got to get looks. I can't remember her shooting the ball so far.
Cap's done a good job on Lee Scott, keeping the leading scorer in the women's competition off the scoreboard. Shot blocked by Shaw. It's Caitlin Petty who's checked in for Caps. Better ball movement here. Shaw has it at the free throw line. Now Smith out to Scott. Works off the Shaw screen. Jump shot is good from Lee Scott.
Looks nice too.
Shot that one with confidence.
Good patience. They got inside touch, back outside, ball reverse. That's good offense. And it's amazing. 26-6, down 20 points in the first quarter is not where you want to be, but it's amazing how quickly the game of basketball can change. So the Rip just have to stay focused in here and stay out of foul trouble, and they're still in this match.
Bethel steps out of bounds, so stop there for the Rip. Minute 30 to go in the first quarter. I want to take this time to thank our sponsor, Australian Sports Network, for providing us with all of the fantastic graphics you see throughout the course of the QBL Game of the Week presented to you by Live Sport Australia and Nothing But Net Media. Smith fouled on her way to the bucket, so she'll go to the line for a couple shots. Believe it or not, Dan, about a minute 15 left. That's the first team foul against Brisbane.
And of course the skeptics would say, well, of course they're at home, but they've just played good defense. And Lani Scheibner has checked in for her first minutes tonight as well, back from her time overseas at college, and the daughter of the ex-Capitals coach Rob, so we'll see what impact she can make tonight too.
Cowbells from the cheerleaders. Does not affect Smith. She hits them both.
I like this pressure from the Rip too, up the floor. Kind of putting on a bit of a press. I think that's a good move just to get their team a bit energised, give the Caps different looks. They are mixing it up well and doing their best to claw this back.
Got to be careful though. You don't want to be too aggressive with the pressure. Got a couple of people in foul trouble.
That's right. But if it's more just a containment to make the Capitals take some quicker shots, then it's a good move.
Petty under pressure from Langhorne. Looks inside for Bethel. She's double teamed. Flips one up and is fouled. So Bethel going to go back to the free throw line. She's been there a few times tonight. These are going to be her 5th and 6th attempts from the charity stripe.
I'd love to see that on a replay. It's Shimmy Shaw's 3rd foul. So she's going to have to sit out. That hurts, obviously. But they played pretty good D, but she must have just given her a bump at the end.
That's Bethel's first miss. She was 4 of 4 before that attempt. Second one is good. So we're under a minute to go. Lead is 17 for the Caps. Langhorne's corner 3 is up. It's too strong. Good offensive rebound by Carly Smith. Inside for Abbott. Banks it home.
Carly Smith's been doing a great job. Very active on defense and hitting the offensive boards hard tonight too.
Bethel kicks it out. They work it around the perimeter to Reed. She'll pull up for a long 2. That's good. And the Rip can hold for the final shot of the quarter. So they're down 29-12. Pretty high scoring quarter for the Caps. Scott kicks it out. Smith, long 2 is short. The long rebound's chased down by Scheibner. They're not going to get a shot off. That's the end of the first quarter, Dan. And heading into the quarter time break, it's a 17-point deficit for the Rip. It wasn't pretty to start with, Dan, but they've kind of clawed their way back into it.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of buts. If I'm the Rip, I'm saying, well, giving up 29 points is too much. Let's do a better job on defense. And then I'd also be saying 12 points is not us. I mean, we can score more than that. So if they can get this game back, you know, to the 10, 11, 12-point mark at halftime, they're every chance in the world come the second half. But from the Capitals' point of view, they have been clinical tonight. Fantastic on defense, and offenses look really, really smooth. So while the Rip have every chance to get back into it, the Capitals are doing what they need to do really well.
Caps up 17. We'll take a break. We'll come back with some stats in the second quarter of action here on your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you at NAB Stadium here in Auchenflower for quarter time break. And it's a 29-12 lead for the Capitals over the Rip. Dan, I know you're taking a look at the statistics. What's jumping out at you at the moment?
There's a couple of things. I mean, Jessica Elliott has 4 offensive rebounds. I actually don't think she's got on yet. So if I was one of her teammates, Carly Smith specifically, I would be walking to the school bench asking for some more credit because she's got more than 1 board. But anyway, overall, the Rip have 6 offensive rebounds. They're actually doing a great job at 9 turnovers as a killer. And that's partly their fault, partly the Capitals' great defense.
Langhorne hits their first 3 of the game for the Rip. Good offensive possession to start the second quarter for Sunshine Coast.
Just quickly too, Johnny, the Capitals have taken 11 foul shots and 10 of 11, doing a great job getting to the line and capitalizing, whereas the Rip only 2, and that's probably because they took so many jump shots early in the game. And here you go, the Capitals again, straight to the rim. So if the Rip can play a bit better defense and attack the glass themselves, get themselves some foul shots, they'll be in good shape.
That foul's called on Spies, picking up her first personal, and it's the first team foul for the Caps in the second quarter. Brisbane going pretty deep here as well, Dan. Not afraid to go to the bench and give their bench players some minutes.
Yeah, that's good signs. I think giving some confidence to everyone on the bench in the team is a good idea as long as they're up to it, which obviously the coach thinks they are.
Ball's tipped out of bounds off the Rip. Smith getting pretty good position inside.
Sure is.
Just hasn't been able to finish with the quality we're used to seeing from Carly Smith. Neves looking inside. Aldred not open, so it's out to Lewis with 6 on the shot clock. Now Aldred has it. She's going to have to fire the long 2. It's short. Offensive rebound and putback is good from Raquel Spies.
Great O board. That'll kill the Rip. Good defense to give up an O board like that, but again, give the Caps credit, staying active.
Langhorne, now Abbott. Pass is stolen there by Neves. Neves has been really active for the Caps.
Fast too. Speed down the floor, but
Aldred step through layup is good after the offensive rebound. Just as I was about to say, Neves is about to lay it in. It's the second one we've seen her miss. She uses the speed well. Maybe she's a little too fast for her own good.
Yeah. But they've got to find a way to get Leah Scott some touches. Here she is here. Yeah, when she gets the ball, things happen. Usually good things for the Rip too, but I mean, the Capitals obviously are focused on her, but the Rip just have to keep grinding to get her touches.
Three-pointer from Langhorne rattles home. That's their second one of the quarter. Cuts the deficit to 15. Spies open, baseline jumper's too strong. Out of bounds off the hands of Vicky Aldred. Scott had pretty good position there. Scott deep in the paint.
Oh.
Can't finish, and then she gets called for an offensive foul. Coach McCracken can't believe it. Lee Scott can't believe it either. That's her third personal.
And they've got to leave her on. They're looking good. Back to 15 from where it was. I would try and leave her on. Lee Scott angry to be coming out, but good D from Maddie Woodford. We said in the pregame, she does all the little things, and I mean, she did go flying, so that's tough not to call a charge, but I don't know, maybe if it was NBA, we could review it on video and reverse it.
And nonetheless, Lee Scott has a seat on the bench. She's got 3. Lewis' jump shot is short. Tipped out of bounds off of Aldred, so it's going to stay with the Rip. Pass, though, way out of bounds there. It's just a bad turnover. And then Neves fires the 3 that rolls in and out.
It's like in tennis, we talk about unforced errors. It's the unforced turnovers that kill you. If the defense is playing really well and they put the pressure on and they force a turnover, that's one thing. But the unforced turnovers are hard to live with.
Bethel gets called for the foul. A lot of contact there.
They want a flop warning, I think, from the Rip.
It was a delayed tumble, that's for sure. Bit of interaction between the crowd and Coach McCracken.
The crowd always has so many experts in it, Johnny. Have you noticed that? Including us.
Including us. Got word from James Bowman down in Sydney, tuning in live, that it was definitely a charge because it was outside the circle. He checked on the replay, so thanks to James for checking for us as Woodford flips up a wild one, gets it to fall, plus the foul. How about that bucket there from Maddie Woodford?
Amazing finish.
There is a timeout taken on the floor, Dan, so we'll take one as well. It's 35-19, Caps up 16 over the Rip, and your QBL Game of the Week presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. She went to Rutgers, I think. I think so.
She can move to West
Ready
Virginia.
to come back? I'm thinking of someone from last year. 3, 2, 1. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower. Timeout taken by the Rip. Down 16, 35-19. They've clawed it back a bit, Dan. They were down 17 going into the quarter time. They're up 1 in the quarter, but it looks like Caps are starting to slowly claw that momentum back in their favor.
I think it's that third foul to Leah Scott that might have changed the momentum back in the Caps' favour, because their offense looks better. Even if she's not scoring, just getting touches, it just looks better when it runs through her for the Rip. And now that she's back on the bench, the Caps, you can just feel them. They go up a level knowing that the Rip are going to struggle to score now, and that's what we're seeing here. The offense just doesn't look as smooth, and not forgetting as well that, Shaw's picked up her third foul not long ago too, so the Rip are going to struggle to score points so far.
McDonald's 3 is off the back of the rim. Abbott gets the offensive rebound. Her jumper rolls in and out. Good board there by Aldred. Hands off for Bethel. Nice dish. Woodford's baseline jump shot is off. Aldred, offensive rebound. Putback attempt blocked.
She's playing really well, Aldred. Just really active, doing a really good job.
Great ball movement. Neves gets inside, throws one up. That's off. Bit of a wild sequence there. Rip get a stop though. McDonald again for 3. This time it falls.
And it's back to 13. It's what we said before, they can just chip away. And for anyone watching, obviously basketball's a game of runs. The Caps came out and made an amazing run to start the game and looked clinical in what they were doing. Got up by 20 points pretty quickly, but the Rip now making a run of their own. That's that could have been a travel too, but just don't reach.
Carden David gets called for the foul on Aldred. That's the 3rd team foul for the Rip. I'll take this time to thank our sponsors, the Australian Sports Network, providing us all of our graphics you see throughout each and every game we present to you here on the QBL Game of the Week. Make sure you follow the Australian Sports Network on Facebook and get in touch with them if you need any support for your live sports streaming or graphics as well. Aldred doing a good job putting the ball on the deck, getting to the bucket.
Yeah, no doubt, and good defense from the Rip again. But with 1 second on the shot clock, Aldred makes a really nice move and gets herself a couple of foul shots out of it. And those are the ones where you just give her credit by making something happen, but on the flip side, you don't ever want to foul with 1 second on the shot clock.
Aldred hits the first. We saw that press late in the first quarter from Rip. You surprised we haven't seen it again in the second quarter?
I'm not sure. I think they might be worried about their depth. 2 of their top players are out, and they're deep into their bench here. I'm not sure that they have the legs to run a press at the moment, but they're going to have to get energy from somewhere because the Capitals' defense has picked back up again with a press of their own.
Scheibner crosses court.
Oh, well done, Bianca Abbott, to get her feet across the line.
That was close.
Oh,
pass nearly stolen.
The bounce pass is a risky pass to throw there. It's just too slow, you know. Let's the defense get in the lane.
3 on the shot clock.
Oh, wow.
Langhorne steps through, flips it up. Bethel steals the rebound and kicks ahead for Woodford, who has her pass stolen by McDonald. Gonna call a jump ball. Looks like possession arrow favors the Caps. Woodford, as we said, doing a bit of everything for the Capitals. It's unfortunate for the Rip. It looked like the steal was there for them. Bethel gets it to fall. She's been impressive too, Akila Bethel.
That's exactly what I was about to say, Johnny. She's been really good.
There's some more pressure. Caps get the steal. Their pass, though, out of bounds. It's a little too low for Amy Lewis from Emma Reed. I like what the Caps are doing here, though. Up 17, looking to get themselves a few easy ones. Abbott, jump shot is good, plus the foul. That's a big bucket there for the Rip. Looks like because Caps' pressure was really hurting them.
They sure were, and the Capitals' press looks good. And I think with this group out at the moment, I mean, Smith's done a really good job. She needs to score, but I think Bianca Abbott's the one to try and put some points on the board, and she's able to potentially knock down a three-point play the old school way.
Free throw is good for Abbott. Foul count is 4 on each team. So the next foul on either squad will put them in the penalty. Tipped out of bounds off the hands of Langhorne. It's going to stay with the Caps with 9 seconds to go on the shot clock. Lewis has it with 5 on the shot clock, gets it out to Woodford, throws up a wild one and gets it to fall.
The second shot Maddie Woodford's been able to put in. Timely too. Rip playing great defense, but Woodford has just answered the call.
That was really hurt too when you work with 23 seconds, doing a great job, and you see someone flip up a wild one and it falls.
Especially off the glass, because you know she didn't mean to bank it. So that hurts.
41-25, Caps up 16 on the Rip. Abbott looking back door.
Oh, good catch.
Great catch by Langhorne. Smith offensive rebound. She's fouled on her way back up. So Carly Smith will go to the line for a couple of shots. I do like the Rip though. We said it earlier. They're not settling for those jump shots anymore. They're really making an effort to get the ball inside.
And I think when your leading scorer is out of the game, you have to find a way to manufacture points and getting to the foul line, second chance buckets off offensive rebounds. That's the way to do it, and Smith's able to knock down a foul shot. I mean, she's averaging pretty impressive stat line, 11 points, 11 boards, 5 assists a game so far this season. It's Carly Smith.
Yeah, she's a very versatile player, inside, outside. Represented Australia in the 3-on-3 competition. You get a call, the offensive foul there on Vicky Aldred. Just trying to clear a bit of space, battling for position inside. I know you don't like that, Dan. Got to give the big a bit of love.
Just let the bigs play sometimes, but as long as it's consistent, John, that's all you ask for.
Smith has it for Rip, over to Langhorne. Abbott puts it on the deck, flips up a left-hand shot off. Snatches it from Aldred inside for Smith, who misses. Bit too rushed there. It was a good look. Probably Smith wasn't probably expecting it.
Yeah, I agree.
Then Rip get a stop on the other end. They're down 15 with about 2:30 to go in the first half. Abbott again. Skips it. Scheibner's going to fire a three. In and out. That was tough. That looked like it was heading down.
Did everything but go down, didn't it?
Approaching the 2-minute mark. Woodford looking to drive, flips up another one and gets it to fall. Maddie Woodford.
I mean, that's good defense from Carly Smith. You can't do anything else. Maddie Woodford's just too good on that occasion and on 2 other occasions in the last couple of minutes.
She's been fantastic. McDonald fires a three that's short. Woodford comes down with the rebound. Going to slow things down with her team up 17. Good post possession there, and Bethel hits the bucket. Really nice way they set that up, working it around the perimeter, and then a nice seal by Bethel.
Yeah, really good offense from the Capitals. They knew exactly what they wanted to get, and Bethel good enough just to hold off the defense and finish it. But she's got 15 points quickly here on 5 of 6 shooting, looking really good so far in this first half.
McDonald fouled there by Reed. That's going to put, well, the Capitals are already in the penalty, so McDonald going to go to the free throw line for a couple shots. Yeah, looking at Lee Scott's numbers with those 3 fouls.
And the thing that stands out for me the most, this is a 40-minute game, and she's averaging 39 minutes and 29 seconds. She does not come out ever. So these girls from the RIP are learning to play this 5 in a game probably for the first time, because Leah Scott's always out there. So she's sitting out major minutes tonight in that foul trouble, so it gives these other girls a chance to step up, but the lead's back to 19, and that's when you miss, you know, a Leah Scott here.
And you see her, she's definitely frustrated. I think halftime can't come soon enough for Leah Scott. RIP, though, had done a pretty good job to get themselves back into it. The lead back out now to 19. And like you said, Dan, you have players that are getting pretty decent amount of minutes that aren't used to seeing it as much. There's nothing that you can really replicate in training that's game-like, is there?
Nothing, no. And I think trainings can get heated, trainings can be intense, but there's nothing you can do that mimics lights on, music playing, people in the crowd. There's just nothing like it.
Good time out there, though. RIP just trying to see if they can surge into the half. They've got a couple free throws here from McDonald to narrow the deficit. First one's good. Second one is good as well. Here comes a bit of a press trap here from the RIP. Lewis, though, breaks it quite easily for the Capitals. Bethel goes inside. Pass is tipped out of bounds, so it's going to stay with the Caps. 10 seconds on the shot clock. About a minute to go in the half.
Oh, good catch.
Hey, King. Now Lewis going to fire the three. That's wet. Lead back up to 20. Caps come out in a 2-3. Langhorne inside for Smith, who banks it home.
Nice finish.
That's nice offense against the zone also.
Sure is. If you get the ball to the middle of the floor like they did, good things happen, but I mean, that's a hard finish. To catch it in reverse layup quickly like that.
Bethel finishes.
She's been good, Johnny. Really, really good.
And RIP just don't have anyone to match up with her. She's done it inside and out as well. McDonald will take the three if you give it to her. She drains that one.
Well, they've got Leah Scott to match up with her, but Leah Scott ain't playing. Bethel taking full advantage.
3 to go. Neves has it. She's going to fire the wing three. It's an air ball, and that's going to do it for the first half. It's a 50-33 lead for the Capitals at the big break. Really impressive first half from Brisbane.
Very impressive. From top to bottom, no one player stood out, although Bethel obviously has been fantastic, but they've all done their part. Coaching staff's prepared them really well, and they've been wonderful so far tonight.
Rip in a bit of foul trouble. Halftime, like we said, couldn't come soon enough for them. It is the break, though, so we'll come back with some halftime statistics in the second half of action as the Capitals are up 17 on the University of Sunshine Coast Rip in your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower. It is halftime. We're getting set for the start of the third quarter, though. It's a 17-point lead for the Capitals over the Rip. It was a really impressive first half, Dan. Capitals really doing a good job and playing some really nice basketball.
They sure did, and I mean, one of the things that impressed me the most is every single player went on there and played their role. There's no standout for them. They all seem happy to contribute in whatever way that they're being asked to contribute. And I mean, a couple of things. I mean, they've got 14 turnovers for the Rip. Look who's in the house from the sunny coast himself. If only we were on video. Braden Hazelhurst is in the building. But the Capitals, back to the call. I mean, they're doing such a great job. Shooting 50% from the field. The Rip, on the other hand, are shooting in the low 30s, which is largely due to the Capitals' defense. But then forcing turnovers, 14 for the RipCity is just too much. But in saying that, the Rip's winning the rebound count by 6, so they can keep crashing the glass and tidy up their turnovers. And if Leah Scott can get going here, I mean, she's capable of going off at 20 and a half. So if she can stay out of foul trouble and not pick up that fourth foul until the fourth quarter, I mean, they could make a run here as well. 17 points is a lot, but it's not so much that this game's over.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the Rip. Still kind of hanging around. It really felt like it was all Caps in that first half. And doing it without the leading scorer in the competition, Lee Scott. If you take a positive, that's the positive for you. As the Hornet, Jeff Horn's entrance music plays and Dan gets into it. Let's talk a little bit about the Hornet. What's your prediction?
I think Jeff will knock him out inside 3 rounds.
Love the confidence. I have a feeling that Jeff Horn will be pretty happy with that result. Most of Australia would be as well. I don't know if people really understand how good Terrence Crawford is as well, though. I say
that with a very biased, one-eyed opinion. Terrence Crawford is the real deal.
Terrence Crawford is definitely the real deal. He's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. I think it's a huge opportunity for Horn, but I think he's going to need everything to go his way to get the W.
Well, it can't go to a points decision. If it goes to points in America, he's not winning that. It's got to be a knockout for Jeff to win. Anyway, Hannah Shaw, early signs for the Rip. They go to the post and get her going. She's the other one. If Leah Scott and Shaw can both get going here, stay out of foul trouble, they're a chance to get this back. But the Caps, if they play like they did in the first half, they will come away with a win. They played fantastic basketball early on.
Well, Rip get a bucket on their first offensive possession and then force a turnover on the first defensive possession. There's Shaw again. Now Smith has it on the baseline. There's 7 on the shot clock. Scott's going to fire the 3. That's too strong. Tipped around, though. Shaw comes down with it, and then she's fouled by Aldred. Eight on the shot clock here for a Rip. Scott has it looking inside. It's not available. She gets it back, drives the baseline, spins away, flips it up.
Oh.
A little miscommunication there. Turnover for a Rip.
But good defense from the Capitals again. Just like they started the game, really locked in on the defensive end.
I thought Neves was pretty impressive in the first half as well for the Capitals.
Me too, just full of energy.
Three-pointer for Neves is too strong. Bethel nearly grabbed that one-handed rebound. Abbott has it with Woodford guarding her. Skip pass out to Scott. Now Carly Smith, baseline jumper is short. I was expecting a more aggressive Lee Scott. She hasn't really looked for her offense to start the second half as Woodford banks it home with the left hand.
No, she hasn't, and that might just be her getting the rhythm, and it might be her with her fourth foul on her mind, just hesitant to drive the lane. And the last time she did that, Maddie Woodford picked up a charge, so maybe that's on her mind because Maddie Woodford's still guarding her, so she's just hesitant. But I mean, I'm surprised she passed that last one. I thought an open 3 for her would be nothing but money.
Shaw's turnaround jumper is too strong. Woodford chases down the rebound. Bethel out to Neves, three-pointer, that's off. Scott gets it, and she's going to push up court for the Rip. Really looking to get the ball inside for Shaw. She's had a couple of good looks, hit that first one. Then just a sloppy pass there from Langhorne. It's turned over. She somehow steals it back. Then they're going to call it jump ball. Just too casual there from the captain for the Rip.
Yeah, super casual. And that comes back again. You can have turnovers and then you can have these unforced turnovers, and the Rip have just had way too many of those to be competitive so far tonight.
17 points the lead for the Capitals. Lewis picks up her dribble, hands off for Bethel. Jump shot is good. They wanted the offensive foul.
I think if Carly Smith falls over on that play, it's probably a charge.
Abbott's turnaround jumper is good. That's the hard thing, though, isn't it, Dan? Because if you flop, you get called the flopping warning. But if you don't fall, they quite often don't call the charge.
I agree. And the flop warning and the charge call is just so inconsistent, I find. So as a player, you don't know whether you should try and do the right thing and take the contact and go down or not. But I'm happy for them to stand up and just remove the charge call almost from the game. Leah Scott from deep, just struggling to get going here. And that's an obvious foul, that one.
Don't know what Langhorne was complaining about there. That was definitely a foul. Bethel's quite strong, isn't she? We've seen her scarf for a couple boards, and once it's in her hands, it's not coming out. I only have her for 4 rebounds. Feels like she's got about 14.
Sure does.
Eight on the shot clock for the Capitals. Lewis has it. Free throw jump shot is too strong. Abbott double teamed along the baseline. Tries to find Shaw, who's fouled. That one's going to go against Aldred again. It's Aldred's third personal. It's the second team foul for the Capitals. Aldred has to take a breather, and Emma Reed checks in. Excuse me, that's Michaela King. Jump shot from Smith is good. She hasn't really been able to get her offense going either so far tonight.
I think it's been hard work for a lot of these Rip players for a variety of reasons, none more so than the Capitals have just played fantastic defense. And that's a rare turnover. They've done a great job looking after the ball, with the exception of that play right there, which hopefully, for the Rips' point of view, as it does, leads to a bucket. It's one of the very few easy buckets the Rip have been able to get thanks to the Capitals' play. But cheap hoops like that, I mean, it's back to a 13-point game. 5 minutes left in the quarter, and Leah Scott hasn't really done too much so far, still sitting on just 2 points. So if she can get going, and these other Rip girls keep playing the way they're playing, we're going to have a real fourth quarter on our hands.
Woodford hits the baseline jump shot.
She's been very, very good again, as she is every time we call a game for her. She loves the Nothing But Net broadcast, I think. But defensively, she's been great, and offensively, she's been wonderful as well.
Smith going inside, pass is knocked away. Neves saves it as well. Lewis has it. It's a 3-on-2 opportunity for the Caps. Lewis goes right to the bucket, can't finish. And Corden David comes down with it for the Rip. Smith kicks ahead for Scott. Gets it back.
Good
Layup
play.
Is good. And then there's a timeout taken on the floor. Good timeout here from the Capitals as the Rip are starting to get things going here. We'll take a timeout as well. It's a 13-point lead for the Caps over the Rip on your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auckland Flower. Timeout taken by the Caps, Dan. It was a good timeout as the Rip have cut the deficit to 13. Things were getting a little sloppy there for Brisbane.
Great timeout, and it's one of the few minutes or few patches rather in the game where they've looked uncertain offensively, and the Rip's defense forced a few turnovers, back to 13. Good timeout from the Capitals, but the Rip continue to play much better basketball here, and I think largely because their main girls are on the floor, Leah Scott and Shaw specifically, who didn't really play much in the first half due to that foul trouble.
Keila Bethel picked up her, that's her second personal. It's the team's third on that battle for the rebound. It's a tough angle for me to see the scoreboard here. Langhorn puts it on the deck looking for Scott.
Well, that's a great catch. The fact she's got the ball.
Turns it over though, Neves.
Tough entry pass.
Dumps it off.
Good pass, Neves.
And then Lewis fouled by Shaw.
Shaw angry with herself.
Neves lost it a couple times there, recovered both times, and then kind of flipped one over to Lewis. Shaw's fourth, the team's second.
I'll give it a couple of minutes here, and if this lead starts to push back out, back to 17-18, I'd just get her back in. If she fouls out, she fouls out. You're probably going to lose anyway if it gets back out to that point. But Bianca Abbott, I think has been playing really well. So if they can continue to keep pushing, and we keep talking about it, if Leah Scott can get going, the Rip could be right back in it, but the Capitals just seem to do enough. Every time the Rip make a run, Johnny, the Capitals get a bucket or they force a turnover and just put a stop to whatever momentum the Rip are generating.
Reed has checked in for Lewis. How much do you think the last game preps you for a game like tonight? Do you go back and watch the game film and make your adjustments off of that game, or do you just prepare for yourself?
Are we talking about as a player?
As a team.
Or as a coach?
For the Caps. I mean, it was a tight game the last time. It was good defense there by King, forces the turnover. But it was a really tight game. It seems almost like night and day. The Caps have just grabbed the lead early and really have had a stranglehold on it since.
Yeah, they sure have. I mean, if it wasn't for the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game, this is a really even contest. But in that first 5 or 6 minutes, the Caps just blew it out. I don't think any of the players would have watched the film or given much notice to what happened last week. Maybe you know what the guard or the player you're matched up on does and what their tendencies are. Maybe that's on your mind, but the coaches should have gone back and watched the film and just brought 3 or 4 key points, both offensively and defensively, and said, this is what we're going to do differently to last time. Put it into practice, and that's all we need to do. As Leah Scott's defense forces a turnover from the Caps. And Leah Scott's handling the ball a lot, just playing the point guard or point forward type role, but hasn't looked to score as much herself, so we'll see if that changes now that Shaw's out.
Carden David jumpers off. Streaking ahead is Maddie Woodford. She recovers, can't finish the layup. Good hustle though there by Reed. Shot clock didn't reset because it didn't hit the back. It didn't hit the rim. So Neves has 8 seconds on the shot clock. And then they get King for the offensive rebound, setting the moving screen.
Another unnecessary turnover, this time for the Capitals. We've seen plenty of those from the Rip tonight. The Caps not so much, but I mean, those are the small things that just keep the door slightly ajar for this Sunshine Coast team.
Got to do something to get Lee Scott going here, though.
They have to.
They really haven't looked to run anything for her.
Well, Maddie Woodford has done an awesome job guarding her one-on-one, as we see again there, and that's just a classy offensive move. But they need her to take 15 shots for the rest of this game if they're going to be a chance. She's got to start to carry the load offensively.
And Woodford got left alone on there. Didn't get any help from the weak side.
Well, she did all she was meant to do. Forced baseline. Almost went out of bounds, Leah Scott, but without any help defense, she was able to get the bucket.
They're going to call it jump ball as Woodford ties up Carly Smith. Lewis checks back in, and Neves is going to get a breather. Woodford again with the assignment on Lee Scott. A lot of contact inside. Referees let that one go. Langhorne stripped by Bethel.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but Leah Scott's got to get touches. I know she brought the ball up, so she did get a touch, but once she enters it, they've got to get the ball back in her hands and play off her. I mean, the offense just looks better when she's the one making the decision. And I think she needs to get plenty of shots up. Leading scorer in the comp for a reason, currently taken 6 shots for the game, made 3 of them. And she's got to take, I think, 18, 19, 20 shots a game for them to win, so plenty of attempts for her in the last 11 minutes.
And the shots that she's taken, she's really creating on her own, just one-on-one, nothing really being run for her.
Yeah, it's a great point, Johnny. Iso's on the wing against Maddie Woodford, who's done a pretty good job tonight, but I agree, they need to, if she's going to enter the ball like that, I expected when she entered it that last possession to the elbow, she was going to kind of rub off the other side and they were going to reverse it into a post-up for her. It's what I thought they were running because she went down to the block, but then that didn't happen. But you're right, they need to find some way to manufacture some easier looks just to get her going.
About a minute 30 to go here in the third. Good defense from Rip. They forced the turnover, and then Scott's fouled. Looks like they're going to give that one to Lewis. That's the 5th team foul against the Capitals, so that's going to send Lee Scott to the line for a couple shots. These are a couple, this is something that we talked about a little bit in the pregame, trying to get yourself to the free throw line, and we talk about it almost every single week, especially for a scorer. If you haven't had many shots or you're struggling a bit, getting to that free throw line certainly can get things going.
I think basketball is an amazing game in that it's just so much built on momentum, and all it takes is for a scorer to see the ball go in once or twice, even off a couple of foul shots. And that's all it takes to get someone going. And from the Rips' point of view, that's what they'll be hoping happens here.
It's a shame you only got a minute and a half to go in the quarter.
Well, we're back to a 12-point. If she makes this, it's an 11-point game. This could very easily be single digits come quarter time.
Langhorne gets a breather. Looks like the Rip are going to come out in a press off the made free throws. Give and go pass is stolen by Carden David. Abbott kicks ahead, but her pass is tipped and stolen. Caps have it now. Lewis with the Jets.
Good hands from Leah Scott. Saved a certain layup. But she's got to get to the rim here.
She goes right at the basket, lays
Good
it in.
move.
Lead is into single digits now for the Capitals. Rip on a run. Corner 3 is short. Tipped by Scott, out of bounds. It's going to stay with the Caps. 11 seconds to go on the shot clock here for Brisbane. Lewis gets the screen, kicks it out for Bethel, but Bethel was diving.
This zone's given them some trouble, hasn't it? Press back to a 1-2-2, and even in the half court, they stay in the zone. And the Capitals look far less comfortable than they did against the man in the first half. And Leah Scott with a chance to cut this lead even further. And this is where they need to get it back to her. She entered to the weak side. They've got to come back and create something for her to get a good look here.
Smith looks inside. Abbott, fadeaway jump shot is good.
She's played really well too, Johnny, Bianca Abbott. Defensively been really good and just timely with her buckets. And we're back to a 7-point game. Who would have thought that?
3-point attempt is no good. A lot of contact, but that's the end of the quarter. And heading into the final quarter of action, it's a 7-point lead for Brisbane, 58-51. Really good action there from the Rip, Dan, to get themselves back to within 7.
Great action. And I think the Capitals deserved all the credit in the first half, and they were playing really clinical, great basketball, but the Rip just locked in, and you can just see the energy in their time out here from the coaching staff all the way down to the playing group. 7-point game. We've got a great finish coming up.
It's coming up shortly. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with the fourth quarter It's a 7-point lead for the Caps over the Rip in your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Welcome back to NAB Stadium in Auckland Flower. John Guarna here with Dan George. It's the fourth quarter. Rip clawed themselves back into this game. It was an 18-8 third quarter win for the Rip. They're down 7, Dan. Let's take a look at the stats, though, heading into the fourth.
Well, the stat sheet only shows so much of it. One of the key things that we've spoken about is the turnovers, especially the unforced ones for the Rip so far, and they forced 8 capital turnovers that quarter. The Rip have 20 for the game, way too many, but not too many that quarter, whereas Brisbane coughed up the ball a lot, and I think that's due to the Rip's pressure defense. They put some full court pressure on, which was great, and offensively, they're just in a much better flow. So good signs, obviously, for the Rip entering into the fourth quarter.
Scott has it on the wing, with 10 on the shot clock. They work it back to Smith. Long two is off. And Reed gets the rebound. Jump shot rattles home for Petty. Lead back up to 9.
Well, that's a huge bucket for Petty. She hasn't featured a lot on the scoreboard so far tonight, but the Caps, for whatever reason, just struggling to score as Leah Scott goes down off the ball. A whole lot of contact, and that's just going to get her motivated, in my opinion. Contact like that, but I mean, Petty gave the Capitals 2 points when they were struggling to get it, so very timely bucket.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times, a few bit of physical play as Abbott's jumper rolls off the side in front of the rim, and then there's a foul. Langhorne on Bethel. I think that's Langhorne's third.
I think you're right. I don't have a great angle of the scoreboard either. I'm trying to
Second.
look here on the live stats. Well, she's had a very physical game for only 2 fouls.
Woodford looks inside, passes tipped and stolen.
It's a tough angle for that pass, but again, much more active hands on defense from the Rip. They're fired up here, down 9.
Abbott going to the left hand, gets the finish
nice
and the foul.
She's really stepped up tonight, Johnny, especially with Shaw out on the bench. Abbott's been fantastic, and Leah Scott still not featuring hugely on the scoreboard. These other girls from the Rip who don't usually score, or aren't usually the focus, I should say, deserve a lot of credit, playing very good basketball.
That was Abbott's 13th point. Make it 14. The lead is cut to 6. Bethel goes right at the defense, can't finish, but she's fouled. Gonna give that one to Langhorne. It's her third personal. It's the second team foul on the Rip.
And it's a good steadying move as well from Bethel. When the Caps, for whatever reason, the well's really dried up offensively, so if they're struggling to score, jump shot's not there anymore. Getting to the foul line, putting some pressure on this defense. You know, maybe Bianca Abbott, maybe Leah Scott, they pick up another foul. Good offense from Bethel, recognizing her team needed a change.
That pressure, though, from the Rip, Brisbane broke that one way too easy. And they've been breaking their press pretty much all night, quite easily.
Well, sometimes you put a press on to draw turnovers, and sometimes you put it on just to burn a bit of time. And I think that the Rip aren't necessarily trying to turn the ball over. I think they're putting a pressure on to give the Capitals the chance to shoot the ball with 10, 11 seconds left, just to take some time off the clock, and they've kind of achieved that for the most part. So I think their press has done what they wanted it to do, but those sort of turnovers are going to kill any comeback that they've got here. Down 7, turning it over off an inbound pass, that's unforgivable.
Foul inside, that's going to go against Petty over the back of Langhorne. That's the 4th team foul, so one foul away from being in the penalty, a minute 40 into the 4th quarter.
Well, that's right, and it doesn't sound like a big deal, but that could potentially be a massive deal. Every foul from here on out, the Rip walk to the foul line, no matter where on the floor that foul occurs, that's a big advantage and every reason for them to be aggressive and just keep attacking here and get themselves some easy buckets from the foul line as Charlie Smith goes down low and does some work.
Great bucket there by Carly Smith. Just had the smaller Neves on her. Got great position. Woodford goes inside. Petty finishes strong.
Petty playing well here too.
Scott through the triple.
That's a nice move. Wow.
Through a triple team.
I know we got robbed in the first half, of foul trouble keeping off the floor, but gee, she's made some nice moves here and showing why she's averaging 25 a game in this league.
Bethel's left-handed shot is off. Smith loses the rebound. Bethel gets it back. She's blocked, and it goes out of bounds.
That's just great, hard-nosed, strong basketball, offensively and defensively. Good defense. I'm glad there was no foul call, and Bethel making some nice moves down there as well.
It's been a good battle inside between Smith and Bethel, that's for sure. Aldred back in. Petty has it now, squaring up against Scott. Hands off for Woodford. Reverse layup is off.
I think that was blocked, Johnny. Good defense from Shore at the end. Leah Scott's feeling it now.
Out of bounds, off of the Rip. Scott kind of rushed that one. It was a decent look, but she didn't get her feet set under her.
No, she's frustrated, you can see. Would love to get that shot back.
Yeah, team's down 5. Rip have stormed back into this one. Put the pressure back onto the Capitals. 7 minutes to go in a tight one. Neves, nice cross-court pass. Lewis has it now. 3 is good.
Massive bucket from Amy Lewis, as she's done so many times to the Capitals over the last few years. Lead back to 7.
How about that entry pass from Neves, too? That was nice.
That is the definition of threading the needle, and I don't think the Rip want to settle for fadeaways like that. They want to go to the rim. You're in the bonus. Got to put some pressure on this defense and not let them off like that.
They got one more to get into the bonus as Neves' jump shot is good. Quickly back out to 9, the lead. (67-58), Caps up. Scott tries the bank shot, it's off. Good rebound by Shaw. She can't get it to fall. Scott, though, with the follow. Back and forth we go here, Dan. We're heading for an exciting finish. Rip, though, cannot afford to trade buckets. They got to get a couple stops. Neves, layup is good.
Tough bucket, too.
It's a bit too easy, in my opinion.
Well, she made a great move. You're right. You could argue the defense needs to be better, but great offensive move, too. And Carly Smith with a massive shot. Couldn't quite get it to go down. Looked like it came off the Caps, but...
Abbott going to check back in, as is Carden David. Scheibner and Smith getting a breather.
I think Smith's got some cramps. I think she's played heavy minutes and just feeling the strain. I'd almost grab a timeout here if I was Coach McCracken. Just settle them down and just remind the girls that we're going to run some plays for Leah Scott here because she's going to have to carry them.
Lewis jump shot is short. Abbott tips it. It's knocked out by Bethel, and Bethel gets it back to Neves.
I don't know who's guarding Neves. Someone needs to. She's been playing great.
Jump shot, though, too strong. Again, Bethel gets it out of the hands of Abbott. It goes out of bounds, though. Coach McCracken's going to take a timeout, so we'll take one as well. 4:50 to go in the game. It's a 9-point lead for the Caps over the Rip in your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you here at NAB Stadium in Auckland Flower. Rip have cut the deficit to 9 with 4:52 to go in the game. Want to give a thank you to our sponsors, Live Sport Australia, showcasing Australian sport online. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, visit Facebook, give Live Sport Australia a follow. They showcase the QBL. We've got some Big V games. We're working on a few other games as well for you. Make sure you follow Live Sport Australia. Under 5 to go. Good timeout for the Rip. Got to think they're going to try and get a good look here for Scott.
Well, with Matty Woodford no longer guarding Scott, and Shaw is also a good option, but I just think Leah Scott's got to be the go-to. Didn't even get a touch that possession. Matty Woodford's done an amazing job guarding her tonight, but with her off, and she's at the scorer's table, but I would take advantage of that Leah Scott matchup every possession until Matty Woodford comes back, and then I'd still go to her, but they've got to find a way for Leah Scott to decide the game here from the Rip's point of view.
Shaw travels. Good hands there
and
from Aldred.
2 possessions in a row where they don't get the ball. You got this leading scorer in the league. It's just, when you go back and watch the tape as a coach, those are the sort of possessions that I just think you look at and you just would love to get it back. Leah Scott doesn't have to shoot it, by the way, but her getting a touch, I mean, she can penetrate and give Shaw a layup. She can create for other people. I just think she needs to be the decision maker on the floor in the last 4 minutes of a 9-point game.
Aldred, jab step, layup attempt, rolls home.
She's played very well tonight, I think, Johnny. Been aggressive right from the start and really contributed well.
Lead back into double digits for the Caps. Under 4 minutes to go now. Rip trail by 11. Scott has it with 8 seconds to go on the shot clock. Drives baseline, floater is too strong. Abbott offensive rebound, she's fouled. That's going to put Brisbane in the penalty. And the Rip going to go to the free throw line for 2 shots. Abbott hits the first. You mentioned Abbott's had a really good game. She's got 15 points now and 6 rebounds.
And they've been timely buckets as well. Just when her team needed some points, she contributed.
It's back to 9 now, the lead for the Caps. Lewis has it. Hopefully at the end of the game, we get an opportunity to chat with one of the players from the winning team. Not sure who that is, but we'll see. Aldred grabs another offensive rebound. It's a jump ball.
Well, I thought that would have been a jump ball too, but a foul call.
That one went against Carly Smith. That's her second personal. It's the team's third. About 3:15 to go in the game.
Oh, a lot of contact, damn. The physical game, Johnny.
Really physical game. Referees have done a great job letting them play. Lewis stops and pops and hits.
Oh. Oh, come on now. Come on. Oh, come on. This is a joke, man. That's a joke. That's a joke, dude.
Oh, Scott just fouled out. She picked up her 4th personal, then got hit with the technical foul.
That's terrible, man.
It was a late whistle, so there was contact initially. That was not called. Then the second dip of the shoulder from Scott got called the offensive foul.
I don't think there was a second drop of the shoulder. We'll get someone to check the tape. Woodford goes down, and Scott stopped because I think she expected them to call. What's that, Braden?
Coach Braden Hessler didn't like the call either. He'd be getting teed up if he was on the sideline.
He'd be ejected. Scott's out. I'm out with her. Isn't that right? But I think she stopped, and she expected a call, but there wasn't a second shot. Everyone's just looking because Woodford fell over, so she's just holding the ball. Could have shot it, and I think the ref said, oh, someone's fallen over. Everyone stopped. I better call something. She jumps up and down because it's a bad call. They tee her up in a two-minute game with 10 points left. Leading scorer in the comp. All you want is the players to decide the game, not the officials. Unfortunately, the Caps probably deserve to win based on the performance they put in tonight. But the Rip are going to be hard-pressed to get a win now with Leah Scott out of the game, and thanks to two questionable calls. And that's a make-up. That's like, man, take the mic off me, man. I don't.
She did in the referee's defense, because I'm not here to bash him. She did lead with a forearm and create the space with it.
But we've just been talking for the last 5 minutes about what a great job they've done letting the contact go. There's been so much more. I know you got to play the political hand, Johnny, but there's been so much contact that hasn't been called. I mean, I can say what I want.
You can. You have an open mic, Dan, for sure.
They've let so much go. I don't know. It is what it is.
It is, and you can't. Once he blows his whistle, he's not changing his mind either. I also, you got to give a little bit of the blame though to Lee Scott, knowing that she picked up her 4th. You gotta be have a little more self-control in that also in a tight match.
But did she really deserve a technical for jumping up and down on the spot? The answer is no.
She knew that she was teetering on the edge because she did get a warning in the first half. Do you remember that?
No, I do not.
So she's just got to be a little more self-aware, I think, as well. And there's a foul call inside. That one goes against Bethel. That's her 4th personal. It's going to send Abbott to the free throw line. Their team down 9 and 2 minutes to go in the game. First one short from Abbott. She's been good from the free throw line. She was 4 of 4, now 4 of 5. Missed them both. Bethel has been really good for the Capitals. Had a lot of standout performances so far. Neves has been great. Woodford with it now. And can't forget Amy Lewis. She just goes about her business.
Yeah. Just consistently very good.
Bethel's 3 is off. Smith has it now. Rip really need to get a quick bucket here. They go inside to Abbott. Abbott's turnaround jump shot is an air ball. Lewis comes down with it. And Woodford doing the right thing. Gonna work some clock here. Caps could get it to under a minute. Bethel hands off for Aldred. Now Woodford with 5 on the shot clock. Gets inside, flips it up, it's off. We're under a minute to go. 9 points of deficit for the Rip. Carden David's layup is good. It's cut by 7. And it looks like Coach McCracken gonna take a timeout. We'll take one as well. At about 55 to go, it's a 7-point lead for the Caps over the Rip. And your QBL Game of the Week presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back with you at NAB Stadium in Auchenflower. Got about 55 seconds to go in the game. It's a 7-point deficit. Is it too little, too late though, Dan?
I don't think so. There's plenty of time left to recover a 7-point deficit. A turnover here, get a stop, go down and hit a 3, 4-point game. Anything can happen, but I do think it's a tall ask, and I don't think the Caps are going to give it up.
Got to get a stop here if you're the Rip. Neves guarded by Langhorne. A lot of contact. They're going to give Langhorne the foul. It's going to send Neves to the free throw line for 2 shots.
Well, that's probably the last thing they wanted to do. Play really good defense, for 14, 15 seconds, and then with 8, 9 left on the shot clock, then foul. Take the foul early or don't take it, but unlucky. But Neves did a good job, and let's see if she can probably ice the game. First one's down.
Neves has been really good tonight as well for the Capitals. Really running the point and running it well. Coach McCracken takes another timeout. Let's keep it here though, Dan. 39 seconds to go, 76-67. Don't forget we will have the men's game coming up for you afterwards as well. We're going to try and see if we can get one of the winning players to come have a quick chat with us post-game as well. Pretty impressive performance, the Rip. We'd probably go back and watch this game and look at that first quarter of action and think they just got off to that slow start and they just haven't been able to really get fully back into it since then.
Well, the Capitals came out and, to use another boxing analogy, just threw a haymaker early and they were up quick, and the Rip kind of took 5 or 6 minutes before they realized what happened, and by then they were 20 points down. And it's just been such a long road to claw back, and to their credit they've done a great job bridging the gap, but the Capitals, every time the Rip made a run, someone from Brisbane stepped up and hit a bucket, got a stop, drawn a charge, got to the foul line. They've done something to stop that momentum, and that's why they're up 9 still here and should get a win.
And I think while the offense has certainly slowed down in the second half for the Capitals, their defense really has been tremendous from start to finish, Dan.
It sure has. 67 points is not a big total, and I don't think that's necessarily the Rip's fault. That's a lot of Brisbane's defense, and they do deserve all the credit in the world.
Rip need a quick one. McDonald blocked by Aldred. Knocked around, Langhorne has it, flips it up, it's too strong. Offensive rebound, McDonald, there's a foul inside. That one's against Bethel again, that's her 4th personal. McDonald gonna go to the free throw line for a couple shots. Woo. First one falls. Hung on that front of the rim for a good solid 90 seconds there. Second one is off though. Tipped around, McDonald chases down her own rebound. She's in a bit of trouble. Woodford ties her up. Possession arrow favors the Capitals. Can't say it enough how impressive Woodford's been tonight as well. Doing a bit of everything.
Yep, she's been awesome, and she hasn't lit up the scoreboard, although 6 of 11 is obviously great. 3 rebounds, couple of assists, 4 steals. Not amazing stats, very, very solid, but I think the eye test tonight that doesn't show in the box score, she's been wonderful. Played fantastic defense, little hustle plays like what we just saw. Very underrated player, I feel.
And I quite often saw her the last few seasons having to play point guard. You have someone like Neves now able to run the point. Gives Maddie an opportunity to play a bit off the ball and probably be a little more aggressive when she does get a touch offensively. But I've been mostly impressed with her defense. She was the main defender of Lee Scott, forcing a couple of charge calls against Scott. I know one of them you weren't happy with, though.
I wasn't happy with either of them, actually.
That's true, actually. I forgot, yeah.
But her not having to play the point guard spot offensively helps her save energy as well. And you can take a possession or 2 off to save some energy, which helps you play stronger defense for longer. So that role, great move by Carly Smith, by the way. She slams into the wall. Hopefully she's okay.
Looks like she's shaking up a little bit.
I think she's cramping. She subbed out a minute or 2 ago with cramps, and I think she's just enjoying the chance to get a quick stretch in before she gets up. So hopefully, I think she's okay. But I mean, back to Maddie Woodford. The chance to play off the ball helps her defensively as much as offensively, in my opinion.
Caps are going to even the record at 3-3. This loss will drop the Rip to 2-4. Seeing a few of the top teams in the competition, where do you see the Caps and the Rip on the ladder? Obviously, kind of sitting outside the 8 at the moment. Do you see these guys as potential finals contenders?
One of the great things about our league is that even a team that's got a losing record like the Rip at 2-4, just watching them play tonight, you can easily see them going into a Southwest and giving the Pirates a run for their money, for example. And the Pirates, depending what everyone says, we think are going to be top 2, at least top 4 in the league. So these teams are not that far off, even if the ladder does show that they're outside the 8 at the moment.
Southwest is playing the Townsville Flames as we speak. See if we can get a score update on that one. Neves hits one. It's 39 apiece between Townsville and Southwest. Coach McCracken takes a timeout. We'll keep it here. With 7 seconds to go, his team down 9.
You want to fight to the end, don't you? 7 seconds, though, with a 3-possession game might be a little bit too optimistic, but you don't want to die wondering, so may as well call it.
Hey, take a quick look at that Southwest score, 39 all. Really tight throughout, 26 all at the end of the first. It's a 13-13 second quarter. Southwest playing without Nicole Seacamp tonight. Thought we might see the debut of Kalani Purcell, but she hasn't suited up. Some interesting matchups in that game as well. Don't forget, we will have the men's game coming up for you shortly after the women's game. Hopefully we'll get to chat with one of the Caps players. We might be lucky to get the captain, Amy Lewis, to have a quick chat with us afterwards. Be interesting to see, maybe Coach McCracken just wants to run a particular play just to see if he can get a look out of it.
Well, it's a long possession.
Rip don't get anything out of it. And that's going to be the final. 79-70, the win for the Capitals over the Rip. Really impressive performance from the Caps, Dan. We can't say it enough. It was a well-balanced attack. Woodford had a great game. Akila Bethel had a great game. See if we can look at some of the final stats. Neves was really impressive. Bethel led all of the Caps. She did get that double-double, 22 points, 11 rebounds. Amy Lewis had 15 and 5. Maddie Woodford would finish with 12 points and 3 rebounds, a couple assists. You got Neves finishing with 12 points. And they got some good minutes from the bench as well. Petty had her moments. Reed played well. Spies. And then you look at the Rip, and the thing that stands out for you, Lee Scott coming in, averaging 20+, only finishing with 14 and fouling out. And you could see the Caps really focusing on trying to shut down Scott, and they did that from the start.
We can look at her numbers, 14 points, but I look at her minutes, 25 minutes tonight compared to pretty much 40. I don't think she might not have subbed out more than one other time for the whole season. So for her to play 15 minutes less than what she normally does, I mean, that was as big an advantage as a turnover count or a rebound count or any other type of stat we can look at tonight. When the best player in the comp arguably doesn't play 15 minutes of the game due to whatever reason, foul trouble tonight, that's going to give the opposition a massive advantage. And that's partly the Caps' credit as well. They guarded her very well. And the Rip, in hindsight, might want to go away and put in styles or put in place some offenses that get some easier looks for her, because she tried to create everything on her own tonight, and that's hard to do.
Yeah, leading the way for the Rip was Bianca Abbott. She had a really nice night. 16 points on 6 of 11 shooting with 7 rebounds. Carly Smith had the double-double for the Rip, 13 points, 14 rebounds, 7 offensive. She also had 8 assists, nearly a triple-double for Carly Smith. But they just didn't get enough. You see McDonald off the bench had 12 points for them. But outside of that, they only had Jen Carden-David with 2 points. So the bench stepping up in moments for the Rip, but it was just too much from the Capitals for the Rip to pull out the victory. Going to see if we could get one of the Caps players. We'll be back with you shortly here to wrap things up. All right, I don't know if we're going to get Amy Lewis, unfortunately, but that's going to wrap things up for us here. It was a great win for the Capitals over the University of Sunshine Coast Rip. Final score 79-70. I got to thank my co-commentator for the women's game, Dan George. Also want to thank Chris Sieber on the camera work. And I also have to thank James Bowman from the Australian Sports Network for all of his support and the graphics production. We're going to wrap things up for the women here. We'll have the men's for you shortly on your QBL Game of the Week, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia.